Previously on AFTN.
8 matches in total. Essentially what happened, they threw flares onto the pitch, similar to what the TSS does. Not onto the you guys do light flares.
We don't throw flares onto the pitch.
I meant to say you guys light flares.
No, but there's been a couple of... The first game when you let the
we had some smoke
off.
That was...
it was really hard to see from the comments.
Yeah.
Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of There's Still Time, the AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CiTR radio from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of beautiful British Columbia. If you're listening to this show on the podcast, it is episode 273. I'm Michael McCall.
I'm Steve Pander.
And I'm Zachary Adam Eisenhammer.
And I know I say this every week, but we have a packed show. I'm glad we're on again early, because who knows when this one's going to finish. Surprise! It's us again. We are going to cover a lot of things in this 2 hours. We're going to talk Whitecaps winning, extending their unbeaten streak to 5 matches. Yep, I'm in the glass half full camp here. We'll look at the MLS West very briefly. We're going to look at the big MLS news of the week, which was FC Cincinnati are coming into the league, and we're going to speak to Alan Koch about that. Then a lot of Canadian PL stuff. We're going to look at the good and the bad news coming out from BC this week about a team that is going to be here and a team that isn't. And another team that is going to be here, Cavalry FC. We speak to Tommy Fielden Jr., their GM and coach as well. And then there's going to be some TSS Rovers chat, Wavelength, some
They're going
stuff
to be
at
BC?
Eric Hurtado. Yeah, they're going to move. It's close, I believe. It's closer than Thunder Bay, I've learned that. Because we've got so much to cover this week, what we're going to do is we're going to release this show in 2 episodes. Episode 273 will cover the first 3 parts, which will be Whitecaps, MLS Chat and FC Cincinnati. Episode 274, which will bring out Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, we'll be covering all the Canadian PL stuff and our interviews with Tommy Fielden and stuff about TSS and the headlines. So enjoy that. But we will kick things off, as always, with Whitecaps chat. Yes, the Whitecaps won a match. They did not draw 2-2. They probably should have drawn 2-2, but Gashi did not have a chance to... Oh, he did have a chance, but he didn't take his chance.
Yeah, no, I think saying they should have drawn 2-2 was not fair based on the game as a whole.
I know, yeah. I'm just being facetious. But I said last week, if the Caps didn't beat Colorado, we don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Because you have to beat teams like that.
So now you think the Caps deserve to be in the playoffs?
They deserve to be in the playoff, I do. It wasn't a classic. It wasn't poor, but it wasn't...
It was a solid road performance.
Yeah, first half was entertaining. Second half, it was workmanlike. Great game management, I felt, by the Caps. But it wasn't an exciting game to watch, which, as you know...
You don't care about.
I don't care about.
Yeah.
It didn't look, though, like 2 playoff contenders, but the Caps got the job done. Post-game comments, Robbo said it was entertaining. I kind of draw a little bit... I don't agree with him there.
I do agree that entertainment factor goes up when you win.
Yeah.
And when you're in the lead, you don't have to come
Hudson,
back.
Though, his post-game comments, and we'll hear a little bit from these guys later in this part, he thought Colorado were the better team in the first half, so I have no idea what game he was watching.
So, what? Based on the performance, what do you think 1 out of 10? We do this every week. What do you think is... How do you rate it?
8 this week.
Yeah, I'd say 8.5.
Yeah, I go on a result as usual, and like you said, 8 is good for me too.
Wow. Mr. Whitecaps will have fallen off his seat listening to this positivity from the off.
Hopefully he's not driving.
We will be. He'll be listening to this hopefully in his drive in the morning if we get this out in time.
He drives the Mini, so it's probably hard to fall off. Or used to. I don't know if
anything else is too big for him. Anyway, the Whitecaps starting lineup.
Such an early edit.
Oh.
or you're going to get an email from him.
Yeah, I'm going to get a tap on my shoulder at training tomorrow. There was more changes to the starting lineup, which we come to expect now. Completely different back four. Now, when I went to training on Thursday, initially I was worried because they didn't have any centre-backs training, so that was a slight concern. But then Shea, I saw, was on one side and Nerwinski was at the other. And Shea and him were putting the balls in. Now, because there was no centre-backs there, I thought, oh, that must just be some practice. Our starting defence is over on the other team doing drills. But no, Shea got the start. Aha came back into the lineup. Daniil Henry straight back into the lineup after coming back from Ottawa. Kamara was out. He didn't train on Tuesday, though. Blundell was in. I think the hope was to rekindle pre-season form with Reina.
Absolutely.
Juarez came in.
Yeah, and they were good. So we'll talk about all these guys probably in part two, about how they all did individually. I just kind of wanted to set up those changes. But early on, the Caps went for it. Teixeira was in early. Beautiful ball from Shea that played him in. I loved that. Yeah. I was watching the game on delay, so I had tweeted out saying, I'm very impressed with Shea so far. So someone replied, see if you think that, basically at the end of the game. But I wasn't down on him by the end of the game, but it was a lovely ball, setting up Teixeira, who seemed to do everything right. Couldn't get the right angle and then shot into the side.
Yeah, just couldn't bend it around Howard or whatever.
But he looked like a player in form, buoyed by those 2 goals the week before. And this is the Christian Teixeira that we've wanted to see. Last year, it took Kekuta Mane getting shipped out to kind of light a fire under him and think, you know what, I kind of need to perform here or my job could be on the line as well. He's had a slow start to the season, which was crazy in a way because I had said he'd looked the sharpest I've ever seen him. He looked so fit.
He looked very fit.
He came in fantastic.
Yeah. Maybe the mental game wasn't there. Maybe that wasn't fit. The thing is, I think this year it was the sending off that really turned it around. Even though he scored on that goal.
And then getting dropped for the next game. So maybe that made him think, I'm not guaranteed to start home games.
You haven't talked about one of the most significant things. Is this not like his first away start of the season?
Oh,
yeah. Yes.
And he scored.
Yeah.
And he contributed.
Can't leave him out now.
Yeah, and he contributed quite respectably.
He was really good in that first half. He was busy throughout. Got his reward. 17th minute, I think it was. Nice little goal.
It was a counter.
Yeah.
It was Daniel Henry. Daniel Henry headed the ball clear.
Yeah.
Your favorite player, FC Juarez.
Oh, yes. Juarez did
he got
excellently
it.
to say
and got it right to Reina. Right?
No. He beat a man.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He beat a man and then played in Reina.
Yeah.
And the thing about Reina is he kind of came in the middle. He was kind of center-left channel.
Yeah.
And then what happened was he cut into the middle more like he was going to shoot. And what happened with Colorado's 3 at the back, they were playing 3-5-2, and they were just getting hammered.
Yeah.
So what happened
was Declan Wynn on that left side, too.
No, they have Declan Wynn playing on the right side.
Yeah.
Was he playing on the right side?
Yeah.
They have their left back on the right side.
Right. Yeah.
Smith was the left center back. And so what happened as Jordy cut into the middle, Smith collapsed into the middle and just left Teixeira in that space. So Jordy recognized it right away.
Yeah.
Laid it off. Teixeira gets the ball and then fakes out Smith, who's trying to recover and slides.
Yeah.
He did so well.
It was kind of like the Simone's slide. You know what he did to Simone?
Yes.
Yeah. So he slides through. He cuts
Made
it back
the space and lovely finish as well.
Inside of his left foot near post.
And again, it's great because we need these guys to show consistency. There's no point just scoring a hat-trick one week and then doing nothing the next week. So to get that, I think it bodes well. Reina as well, who seems to have had a fire lit under him, or he's finding his feet. He's maybe put some problems they had in the off-season to the back of his mind now.
We all hope.
Hopefully they are all over as well, because we haven't heard anything recently.
Remember that Instagram or Twitter a picture that he says he's going for business or something like that? After that's when he turned it around.
Oh.
It seemed like he switched it up after that. I think it was the Minnesota game when you first noticed how well he was playing.
It's amazing what Scientology can do for you. But Reina got the second in the 39th.
That another this time a great run by Alfonso.
Oh,
on
yeah.
the left side.
Again, I think it started with the Danielle
Henry clearance
from the back.
Some people were saying that they cleared the ball 30 times for the whole game combined.
Yeah, him and Aha.
And it was 25 in the first half.
Yeah.
Or something. It's in the 20s.
They had a lot of corners, Colorado. They had 12 corners.
Then Davies beat his man.
Yeah.
His beating his man is a little different than Juarez.
That is another big plus because that's something that we've wanted to see. We've wanted him to A, beat men, and B, make the right decisions.
And make the pass, yeah. And he did.
By beating men, obviously I'm talking about on the football pitch. Zach's cracked up here. But he did. He beat
I took it for that way. I don't know where
Not everything
exactly
is
how you meant
innuendo with me, Zach. Most things are, but that wasn't.
He skinned his player, went by him.
Yeah.
And then
he made some good decisions in
And
this
then he
game.
took on Declan Wynn. And you got to imagine the coaching staff was like, hey, you're going against Declan Wynn.
Yes.
You know him.
I like Declan, but you know his
him.
weaknesses.
You trained against him. You played with him. You know how to. And so he took him on. And it wasn't a perfect pass because there was some deflections or whatever. But the ultimate thing that matters is it found Reyna, and his deflected shot found the back of the net.
Yeah. And by that time you felt the game was over. But
it's never over.
I did though, because Colorado showed nothing, despite what Hudson thinks they had the better of the first half.
Colorado is a sad excuse for a football club at the moment on the pitch.
Worse than Seattle. We'll come to that. Colorado, though, they pulled one back 2 minutes later. Fantastic strike by Edgar Castillo.
But was it a handball?
I think it
was a handball.
I think so too.
It's reviewed and it's still not given as a handball.
If that was against Vancouver, that's called back.
Yes.
That was similar to what Alfonso Davies did against Columbus. Remember that goal that was called back?
Yeah.
That was similar.
Totally.
And the thing is, when you have your hand like this, where you're like aiming it towards the ball, I'm doing the motion here in the studio.
It doesn't matter if he was angling it or
No,
whatever.
that was the thing. He went towards it.
It was like he was doing that. That's what he was trying to do with his hand.
Okay, I guess that counts. But it also is the fact that it actually hit it and went down, and it was a favorable.
And the angle, the physics and whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I didn't do science, but the geometry of it went right down, straight down. That didn't go at an angle when it went. No. It went straight down.
Are physics the same in Scientology, Michael?
I have no idea.
Probably. I don't want to take anything away though from Castillo because that was one hell.
Oh, that was a great strike. Yeah.
And he nearly got a second just a couple of minutes later. And then it got blocked by his own man. So that was a bit of a let-off. And again, it was another goal that you can't blame Brian Rowe for. He's given up goals, but I don't think he could have stopped that Castilla strike. Do you think he could?
No, I was trying to think, can you? Is there any? And I don't. It wasn't on the replay. It didn't look like it was corner. Am I wrong? Like it wasn't like right in the corner.
But it was beautifully struck.
It was a curly shot kind of over him. And the thing is, I think that I do think that if it was, we all talked about Brian Rowe is not an athletic goalkeeper. So maybe
what is he?
He's more of a positional goalkeeper who's in the right position. Yeah. He distributes the ball well and does that kind of stuff. So not everybody can be that type of goalkeeper.
There's hope for me yet.
But I think a more athletic goalkeeper would be able to save it, possibly, or at least get his fingertips to it.
Interesting.
But I think maybe you said
it's not a criticism against him. It's just the facts.
There's always a number of errors that lead to every goal. The biggest one on this was obviously the Felipe header.
Oh yes,
it was Felipe's header.
He should have cleared it towards the end line.
His low header into the middle of the area was what led to it. Really.
Well, he's quite small. Everything's quite a low header for him. Same with Teixeira. Second half wasn't anything super exciting. Both teams had half chances. Yeah, we'll just rattle through that. Have to talk about the miss by Gashi though.
That was just a slight deflection.
Bad flick on by Henry. For all the good that he did, you can't.
I don't even think he was trying to flick it on. I think he was just trying to
clear it.
I think he just couldn't get his head to it.
Clear it or put it out. But
maybe two, three more inches tall height, and he would have got it.
I think maybe Gashi didn't expect it to come through to him.
Yeah.
But he has to finish.
Gashi is interesting. He's one of those players. Not everyone is exactly the same, but he's one of those players who you have to say, what happened? Like, he is so talented. He's on a good wage, which I would say he's probably worth, really, when he's anywhere near.
The altitude. It messes your brain.
But sure. But yeah, something's got to be wrong there. If it's off the pitch or family, something. I don't know. I'm not saying something's wrong in his family. There's something that has to be impacting his play because
he needs new surroundings like Vancouver. I would love to have him here.
He's a quality footballer in MLS terms.
Horrible miss. Great for the Whitecaps. Do you feel the Whitecaps deserve to win?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Would that have been an undeserved draw if he'd put that away?
Yeah, I think so.
With
the chances Vancouver missed in the first half, coupled with how they played in the second half, because you guys said there's not a lot to talk. I think what should be talked about, which probably we moan about at other times, or we're concerned about at other times anyways, is the game management. Is that they saw the game out. They possessed the ball.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen a Whitecaps player take the ball to the corner more than I did in that game, or like get into the other half and then just
a lot of credit for that.
I'm going to pass it back. And I know some people are like, Alphonso Davies, why is he passing it sideways or backward? He should just keep going. They wanted to win the game.
It's like understand game management.
And
people. It's not all about just attacking.
And that central
see what happens, like Voyagers Cup final. 2015. Still go for another goal.
Why do you got to bring us back?
Because I know it.
Zach hurts. No, but I think the central midfield had a big part to do with that, because they both.
We'll talk about
throughout the whole game. They made the simple passes and made the effective passes.
Who was in central midfield?
Juarez and Felipe Martins, and they did an excellent job.
You heard it here.
Okay, the one thing I saw, good performance, I would say, good result, I would say. That does need to be at least tempered somewhat with the fact that they were playing the Colorado Rapids, as we mentioned.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Don't want to take it too much away from them, but it was a bad team.
Good job, because they've played bad teams before and not done
and they had
well.
to win it.
Yeah.
So that's some of our thoughts on the game. We're going to hear from both coaches now. We're going to hear from Anthony Hudson, and then we'll hear from Carl Robinson. Anthony Hudson, if you watch the video of it, if you get a chance to, he's the most chilled coach for a guy that's team is very struggling.
Well, can we talk about his tactics after this?
We'll talk about that after this.
Colorado, beautiful place that you are. Feel the sorrow of tomorrow before you go very far.
It got us back in the game. In a half once again where I thought we sort of had them under a lot of pressure. It was deserved, the goal. We deserved to get back in the game, and it was a good finish in the end.
Coach, that first half really was kind of a head scratcher. I mean, you guys had them on their heels. Their 2 goals, was it more a case of positioning? Them getting numbers back behind, or what do you think was kind of the cause of those?
That we didn't deal well with the counter attacks. When you're on a run like this, it's almost like I probably sound like a broken record, and I'm sure it's frustrating to some people, and we're frustrated, we're disappointed, but at the same time, as disappointed as we are, I feel very calm in knowing that this will turn. We've seen enough evidence in these games that, I don't know how many crosses tonight we had, how many final balls we had in the box. So it's going to turn for us. I feel calm about that, but we're not happy about this situation, of course.
A very entertaining match, end to end. Probably a little bit too open for both managers. Lots of chances, obviously 3 goals, lots of blocks, missed chances. A very tough game, but we're obviously delighted in there. The guys in my locker room put a lot of effort in, and if you put the work in, you get the rewards.
And lots of goals for the past 4 weeks, but how important is it to complete the effort and get the W?
It's always nice to win. We've been drawing too many games, points we've thrown away really, and the league is very tight. You can go on a winning run or a losing run or a drawing run at any stage, but you've got to make the key differences at certain times, which gain you points. And what we've done is we've given away too many goals recently, but we scored a lot, so it's fun to watch if you're a fan. Obviously it drives managers mad. So we went into the game today, we knew they were a little bit wounded. They're a good team, they got good players, obviously they got a great coach in Anthony, we know that. So we knew they would create opportunities, but we also know they'd give opportunities up, and then it comes down to the tactical game plan of each manager. We took our chances early on in the game, and we thought if we got our noses in front we might be able to hang on, and that's certainly what we did.
And the back line, how do you assess
Terrific, absolutely terrific. Daniil Henry and Jose, the two fullbacks, Brett Shea. It's a brand new back four from last week. So obviously we conceded the one goal, which I think was avoidable, with a bad-headed clearance, and credit to the guys for hanging in there.
And talk about the attacking punch that Jordy and Teixeira brought in the past
Well,
couple games.
very exciting. We've created a boatload of chances and probably not scored as many goals as we would like, but when we've got the bug and we've got Jordi and we've got Fonzie, obviously Anthony got the chance today. Kai was rested because he picked up a slight injury, but when you got those three young attacking players, they're delightful to watch at times, they're exciting to watch at times, but they're sometimes frustrating, and they give simple passes away just because of their keenness and their naivety, but they were terrific, all three of them today.
The Gaffers there. People just love that song. There's a discussion on Twitter about it this week. Glad to be bringing my 80s UK sitcoms to a wider audience.
Was it Paul or who was it?
I can't remember now, but there was a couple of people said it was such a catchy song. I think Paul was one of them, yeah. And it might have been Ryan as well. Anyway, that was the Gaffers there, just talking about the game. Just before we wrap this segment up, it's amazing how a win can shape a narrative, because we headed into this game and it was 4 draws on the bounce, but it felt bad.
Well,
but you're unbeaten in 4, but you still felt bad. This win, immediately after the game, moved us back into the playoff spots in 5th, and we were just 1 point off 3rd.
As you said, deservedly.
Yeah. Do you go with a half-full approach, though, and say it's still only 1 win in the last 6, 2 in the last 10? You've only taken a third of the points in that spell? Or do you feel the Caps have turned it around and we're unbeaten in 5, baby?
For me, it's essentially because they're, and I've talked about it before so many times, because they've shown effort in these games, I feel like they are on the verge of turning around. Their only issue is getting that defense sorted out. If they can get that sorted out, then they're not going to score 2 goals every game or 3 goals every game to win. They don't need to do that to win. They can score a goal and win the game if they can get that defense sorted out. So I think I feel like I'm not sure if it's going to continue, but they are on the right track at this point.
Happy for Robbo, his staff, and the players to get a win after it's been a while. Continue their, I think it's probably still the best away record over the last 4 years running in the league. So they'll be really happy about that. It also, I think, is huge when you factor in the fact that they're captains away for World Cup duty.
Yeah,
and like we already said, they changed the back four. There was many changes throughout the side.
I was worried about chemistry, but it worked.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's I know many people are going to call it undefeated in 5. That doesn't really matter to me. I think they need to build off the success that they had in this game, and they have a game upcoming in Orlando that we're not going to preview. That will be really interesting because Orlando has shown some things this year. I think that they haven't shown
not recently though.
No,
not on this weekend.
Yeah,
but earlier this year they had a rich run of form, so it'll be interesting. That'll be a good test, I think.
But we had a poll question, kind of roundabout. That question.
We asked, what effect did the opposition have on this result? Like, in their opinion, how confident were people? We have basically a very close call for the first 2 choices. In top spot was somewhat, never easy to win on the road. And then in second, just a couple of percentage points behind, all of it, Rapids are a horrible team. So they feel like the Whitecaps, Whitecaps should have won no matter what. In third, none. Whitecaps deserved all 3 points, and there was a few votes for not sure. So it's basically, I think more people are on the thing that the Whitecaps are doing things well to earn that third place.
I'll be honest, it's nice to have a kind of positive vibe kind of going out in the Twitter sphere amongst Whitecaps land. Let's hope that continues going into the World Cup break. But we'll be back with some chat around some of the player performances, the defence, and a few other things after this.
Hi, I'm Carl Robinson. You're listening to the AFTN podcast.
Wake up in the morning, not looking at a city and I never seen a skyline look so pretty. Have you heard of it? Have you ever been here? I bet you smoked our weed or probably drink our beer. Isn't another state that even comes near. It's the only place to live and it should seem clear. Cause people ain't rude, racist or sexist. People from here don't like people from Texas. College kids come, then they don't leave. Pretty soon there'll be people here as far as you can see. Population growing at a rate too extreme. And that's when I'll move and sleep under pine trees. Travel the globe and then come home to a place that cheers for the Denver Broncos. Not everyone wants a life I chose, so I'm going back to Colorado. Not everyone wants a life I chose, so I'm going back to
Colorado.
All the Colorado songs.
Yeah, I've got more. I've got one about Colorado girls. I didn't include that this week. Maybe
when they come here.
Yeah, we'll save that. Be looking forward to chatting to their two Scottish guys when they come here as well. But yes, you are back listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CiTR Radio. So in the first part, we talked a little bit about the game. Delve a little bit deeper. We're going to have just a short part two because it's such a packed show this week. I want to just look at a few things out of this game. Defensively, first of all, let's look at that. Despite the all change, the kind of lack of time working together and the chemistry, I thought they looked a lot more composed and the chemistry felt that it was there. I did not mind Breck Shea at left back.
I think he minds it a little. I don't think he wants to play there.
Well, yeah,
in the past,
it wasn't his favourite when he was in Orlando.
But I agree with you there. He was composed. He didn't look rattled too much.
Yeah, great for other teams to see that he's versatile. He can play him in defence or on the wing.
No one's coming for Breck Shea, Michael. You can relax.
Jake Nerwinski was back. How do you think Jake did?
Again, I think he was probably told to play a simple game. I think there was one run he made going forward, or a couple here and there, but I think mostly he just hung back. And you want to give Teixeira space in front of you. You don't want to overload on that right side and let him kind of work it.
Yeah, the game as a whole, it felt like it was solidly defensive as a unit for the most part. You mentioned there's one or two little things, so I think that was good. And going forward, I don't think he was overly flashy or The contributions were made by the biggest contributions were made by Teixeira, Reyna, and Davies. Those three, right?
Looking then just at the fullbacks, we don't know yet still how long De Jong's out for. Unless I completely missed it at training last week, I didn't hear anything or read anything that said how long he was out. He certainly wasn't on the training pitch on Thursday. That's when I was there. How long then, or do you keep Breck Shea in for De Jong now? Or do you rotate him and Brett Levi's?
I think you leave it up to Breck. I think you make sure you ask him if he wants to play left back. Because if he shows any kind of thing that he doesn't want to play left back, then you put Levi's in there immediately. Because I would rather have, a less talented player. I'm not saying Levi's is less talented, but a less name player or whatever you want to say, than have a Breck Shea who's not committed to playing left back.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think that's a great way to coach. No.
I would. If the guy's not showing that he wants to play, you don't put him in there.
Well, you don't put him in at all then if he doesn't want to play.
Oh, no, I'm saying then you leave him on the bench.
As a coach, if that gets out to the rest of your players, that hey, he's going to you and being like, hey, do you want to play here?
I don't think you let it out to the rest of the players. Yeah, but have a private conversation.
But that's the thing, dude. This is a team. Those things get out. I remember I remember before hearing from players saying, this player said to me, I should be playing this position. And then I heard them going to the coach and saying, I should be playing that position. And it ruins the chemistry in the dressing room.
I'd keep Shea in, I've got to say. I like Brett, but I just think Shea adds a little bit more. He's got that more experience, and that would be the way to go. And I would possibly keep Nerwinski with him.
Yeah, I'd be okay with Nerwinski getting another start. I think Breck, I hope that there would be something he'd want to prove playing against Orlando in the next game.
Yes, well, he should be up for that one.
Yeah.
Especially at
you would
back.
hope. You would hope.
Yeah. The other parts of the defence.
And he kind of showed that in the game against them last year.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Does he have any tattoos he can point to if he scores against them this week? The rest of the defence, Daniil Henry, as we talked about, finally made his Whitecaps debut. I thought he was above average. I don't think he had a fantastic game because, yes, he had those 15 clearances, the same as Aha. He led the team in interceptions with 4 and blocks on 3. But I counter that with that flick that nearly let Gashi score, and he nearly put the ball in his own net in the second half as well. He seemed to miss time how he was trying to play that.
But when you couple those stats with the fact that he started both plays that led to both goals,
Yeah,
two of
that's why
those clearances are,
for me above average.
yeah, I would say definitely above average.
I'd maybe say an 8 out of 10, like the performance.
Especially it's his first competitive game.
Well, that's
with
the
this
thing
group,
as
right?
well.
At the MLS level. Like, he played USL like 3 games or something like that.
No, but like with this group of players.
I was concerned about bringing him in without really getting a chemistry with Aha.
No, but I think
Gazal alleviated any concerns about that last week.
I thought no one can be worse than Gazal now. Why not give Danilo a shot?
Plus, Robbo knows Daniel, right? Like, so I think that helps, and I think he trusts him. I would feel because you guys can correct me, but I don't think Aaron Mond really put too many a foot wrong in the games he played.
No, so, that's the thing. Where does this leave?
I mean, he was back on in the 18.
Yeah, he had a huge smile on his face at training, so he's not down. But where does that leave him? You've had Gazal and Henry now in ahead of you.
But that's the thing. I think in this, the captain center backs at the World Cup, you need him now. Yeah. If there's a suspension, an injury, or whatever,
it's not like he can say, "Look, I want to move on now." So the transfer window opens. It's like, well, we can't.
And he could be a guy like Hurtado, like Tybert, who are like okay with their positions in the lineup and in the roster.
I think it's unfair to couple him in the group with Tybert, who's been one of our
one of
Vancouver's best performers this year.
No, he's meaning
I'm meaning that if he doesn't start, that he's okay with it. He's not going to cause a big stir.
Okay,
and so. We had a question about Daniel Henry. We asked the listeners what they thought of, how they rate him. Overwhelmingly, over 60% said very good, especially for his first start with a new partner. In second spot, with about a third of the votes, was a wait and see, solid play, but some mistakes. And then 5% said very nervous. Luckily, we were playing Colorado, and nobody voted for him, hoping Costa Rica loses quickly. So nobody that concerned.
Vamos los ticos.
My complex manager is a Serbian supporter. Right. He is Serbian.
Up the Eagles?
We had a very long chat. He's like, "Oh, you're cheering on my Serbian?" I was like, "No, Costa Rica." I was like, "What?" So I could be evicted. I might be looking for a new house soon. We'll see how that goes. Now, Juarez, Steve's nemesis.
No. I liked him at the beginning. I liked the signing.
I know him.
I just didn't like the play that he was doing at the beginning.
Yeah.
This was good today.
Well, off late he hasn't been great. I did think this was one of his better games. I think some people from the initial comments that I saw on Twitter were surprised that he was wearing the armband, but who else would you have given the armband to?
Well, if Kamara would started, you would have given it to him.
Yeah.
I agree with you. There wasn't Felipe might have, because he is a very outspoken guy on the pitch and off the pitch. So that might have been a
I guess.
So, but I guess Juarez. We rearranged the seating in the cafeteria, so you might as well give him the armband.
Yeah.
It shows leadership.
Steve, did you think his effort and his performance were much better?
Much better.
Yeah, okay.
It was night and day compared to the other days.
Him and
other
Felipe together, I thought were excellent. The way, as we touched on, they dictated the tempo in the second half.
You saw a little bit of that against New England when he came on for Tybert. Yeah. I didn't think he was like that bad. We hated that he came on for Tybert.
Yeah,
but
just
once
that's what we were wanting to do in the game.
Once he came on, it was a good combination with him and Felipe.
Now, the Blondell-Reina partnership didn't quite produce the sparks that we saw pre-season. I thought Blondell was very quiet. It wasn't a great game. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. And I don't know how we get the best out of him, because it's either, as we talked about last week, keeping him in the lineup and getting that consistency, or you're chopping and changing him in and out of the time, and he's not going to get that consistency and that flow going. But he wasn't great on Friday.
I didn't think he was bad though.
No,
but I agree with you. He needs a run. We say this often about players. They need a run of competitive matches. I do hope that there is more of him and Kai together to come.
I really hope so, because I'm excited at what they can bring with Reina in behind them.
Exactly.
Or with Kamara up top and Blondell and Reina in behind him. Yeah. So either a 1-2 or a 2-1 for the top three. It's going to be really exciting to see. Talking of formations, 4-4-2 seems to be where it's at for us right now. It seems to be working.
I know, but
is that where we're sticking?
I think it's the 4-4-2. Correct me if I'm wrong. The 4-4-2 they're using is very flexible. Reina seems to step back into the midfield.
4-4-1-1 almost.
Yeah, he's kind of. It sometimes looks like a 4-3-3. It could turn into a 4-2-3-1 if they wanted
Swansea
to.
sometimes pushes forward. Teixeira sometimes pushes
So
up.
it's kind of a very flexible 4-4.
Yeah, well, we know how Carl Robinson feels about this.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't get caught up in formation.
He doesn't get caught up because they're just basically a starting point, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's more about how the attacking players you have and how you're
it's ain't foosball.
How you're encouraging them to live out your game plan. So to me that's not such a big thing. But I think also this is a bit of a communications battle, and so to call it a 4-4-2 when you got fans howling for frustration over this, that, and the other. This is smart of them to just put it. And I can't remember if it was for this game or the other. There's some games where when they put out the tweet out the formation, it's like these 11 players. It doesn't say anything. But there's been games where they're like, it's not just on the TV. It's here's the actual lineup in the formation.
They've definitely done that a lot more now.
Exactly. And so that's very, very wise of them to help with people who've been clamoring for two strikers.
Let's keep some formation talk and talk about Colorado.
Oh, man.
And the rigidity of Hudson to play three at the back. He's not budging from that at all.
So yeah, if you listen to the pregame show, Stefan Marinovich did the color for the pregame show on the radio.
A tiny bit on my way to the Rovers game.
Right. Yeah. So I was on my way the way there too. Actually, so
I was already there.
I was listening to it on the way there, and Marinovich was like, "Yeah, look, I'm really grateful to the guy. He played me and kept playing me, so I'm really thankful." But he's just like, "Yeah, he is 3-5-2. Doesn't matter who he has." That's who he is. And so, at least to start, he says he does have some flexibility within a match. We didn't see it quick enough on Friday night because they were just the space that the Vancouver's wide players were having was ridiculous. So the lack of the help of the wide Colorado players,
the wingbacks basically,
the wingbacks, they were and the lack of connectivity between the center backs and into who to go where and when. We talked about the opening goal. You know, Smith should not have probably collapsed or slid into the middle. I mean, Reyna might have had a shot. That might have gone in, but...
It was poor. And I've liked the 3-5-2 formation previously.
But you got to have the players to play it.
You got to have the wingbacks that can go up and down.
Yeah.
They can't be just going up and not concerned about coming back.
Another good example, and I know you haven't seen this yet, Zach, was tonight's game, TSS against Victoria. Victoria went with a 3-5-2, so they went three at the back against a very fast-paced TSS attack.
Well, Zach Verhoeven
was on one wing.
Sanyo was the other.
And Daniel Sagno was on the other. So, and then you had Rahid Rahim, who's usually a winger, in the middle. They took them to pieces in that first half. And Thomas Neendorf did not change that either. He stuck with that. And I was stunned by that.
And even when they made the substitutions, like you said, the people that came on, they were just as fast, and there was no relief.
It's just, there's times when a 3-5-2 can work, but you have to have the flexibility to change your formation. And Robbo's not afraid to mix things up, and he needs to.
So the biggest mark against this, which I think you already said, or we already talked about, Steve, is they're playing 3-5-2, and they have, in the fact that he's shoehorning people in and whatever, making it fit to what he wants, is the fact that Declan Hill is playing right center back.
Declan Wynn.
Sorry, Declan.
If Declan Hill's playing, he's got a lot more problems.
I say there's match fixing going on.
Is Declan? Isn't he the race car driver? Or is
Declan Hill?
Oh no, Declan Hill's
the journalist.
The journalist.
The match fixing journalist.
Damien Hill.
He's Canadian, right?
We're going right over the hills.
Sorry, Declan Wynn. Sorry, the fact that Declan. You can edit that out for me.
Oh no, that's staying in.
The fact that Declan.
No editing tonight.
The fact that Declan Wynn is playing right center back is a huge thing, right? That says that he's trying to squeeze these players.
Loving that he's getting MLS minutes.
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
but
I know. But talking of our players now, it's time for the rankings.
So there was no dancing, obviously. Oh, no singing along like you usually do, because
I was reading something on Zach's phone.
Yeah, some information going back and forth.
So we had the rankings.
Yes. Bottom three. Just bringing it up, sorry. Bottom three, taking out the substitutions from the bottom. And I think this will make sense down the road. Jake Nowitzki at the bottom. Breck Shea second from the bottom. And Brian Rowe third from the bottom. Now, when we go to the next question, Next, question. Sorry, top 5. We'll go top 5, sorry. 5th spot, Felipe. 4th spot, Danielle Henry. 3rd spot, Alphonso Davies. 2 is Teixeira. 1 is Reina. Now, when we asked people how many people get a passing grade, number 1 at about just under 50% was 9 to 14. So you got people like I know we said I'm taking subs as well because the subs really didn't have that much effect, but
I thought
Kai Kamaro, they did, but I usually take them out when we go third from the bottom.
I hear you.
9 to 14 get a passing grade. That's huge. I don't think that's happened
That's the first
this
time,
year.
I think,
So that says that even though they're from the bottom, they're still had a good performance.
But those people,
someone has to be bottom.
But and I think so. That's partly confirmation bias of at least Breck Shea and Brian Rowe, right? People have not appreciated some of their performances recently, and so that's why they end up at the bottom of the list.
And like we said, fullbacks didn't have that much of an effect in the game. Like going forward and everything that happens, 42% 5 to 8. And only just under 10% said 0 to 4, which I think is just a lot of curmudgeons there. Where do you rank the coaching staff? Number 1, actually, it was a kind of a tie. Just over 35% was 1 to 5. Under 35% was 6 to 10. 11 to 14 was about 20%. And 10% had about a 15 spot. So again, I think it's the same kind of people that are voting and
how can you put the coaching staff at the 15th spot in that?
I think it's just the same people that are just not happy with the Whitecaps every week.
We had a very interesting chat at training on Thursday. Just like stats, you can skew them any way you want. Like the current run, you can say, it's 5 games unbeaten, or it's 1 win in the last 6.
Yeah.
So you can make them say whatever you want.
No, but this is 10% of people saying we thought the coaching staff was the worst.
Well, that's.
But
you can that's what people are, and you might notice that some of those people that say that are kind of quiet on Twitter right now, or not speaking as much as they were.
It's been a more pleasant environment. Mike Martinego had tweeted out an interesting stat that I then delved a little bit more into. Heading into Friday's game, the Whitecaps had only been ahead in 10% of the matches that they played all year, 10% of the time in minutes.
Yeah.
Take out the first 2 games, and they'd only been ahead for 5% of it.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, when you look at how the season has gone, that's not surprising.
But you're not going to win like that. With the way that we play, and considering that we like to give away possession and stuff, was Friday's game kind of the key to our success moving forward? Getting on the board early, getting those early goals, and then giving away all the possession. So should we be coming out faster, trying to get on the scoreboard early, and then play our traditional game of giving up possession?
Well, I think even the most defensive of coaches, if you will, would encourage their squad to score early, whether it's nicking one or whether against a run of play, whether it's coming out with a high press, whatever. Like, I think every coach wants to get an early goal and be able to have that set the tone for the game, right? Yeah. Because I've heard it said before that goals change games. Is that true? Is that true?
I believe it could do. I've also heard it only takes 1 second to score one. That's true as well.
There you go.
Unless it's slowly trickling over the line, then it might take a few more.
Oh, there were some goals like that, I think, this weekend in MLS.
Yeah, well, that brings us nicely. We're going to talk a little bit about MLS in part 3, and we'll be back with that after this.
Hi guys, this is Felipe. Thanks for listening, AFTN.
I like movies that give me a fright. If the subject is horror, I got to see more. I won't be contented all night. You may call it my ghoulish obsession. It's a subject on which I get chatty. But the worst one it seems, fucking all of my dreams was a con rotating Cincinnati.
Yes, the cockroach that ate Cincinnati. It's a shame. They had just got into the MLS and then a cockroach has destroyed them. I'm sure they'll fight back. Or, as the Nutmeg News wrote a great article, they've been announced that they've got an MLS team and now it's getting moved to Detroit. But anyway, you are back listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CiTR Radio. We'll get to Cincinnati later in this part. I want to quickly, though, rattle through our MLS West weekend review as we always do. Before we went into this week's games and get into that, I have to mention something that I talked about last week, about how I thought Higuain's red card last week in the KC Columbus should not have happened. It was reviewed on VAR and they still sent him off. But now it's been re-reviewed by Disco and it's been rescinded.
Yeah.
Farcical. Correct decision, but farcical.
Yeah. Hashtag classic MLS.
Yeah.
But then Martinez...
Yeah, who should have been sent off. And they did review again on VAR and it was like, no, the referee, you don't need to do anything. He's now got a 2-game ban from Disco. I meant to look to see who was doing the VAR in that game, but let's just hope he's nowhere near us.
Disco, I think there's been they've needed some work. So VAR said no. VAR said no. The VAR people said no problem. We'll help you out.
They're nice that way.
Yeah, they're generous.
Yeah.
But Higuain had a good thing he was in the game.
Well, yeah, because I don't.
That's not a West score.
I don't like looking at the East usually, but let's just take a few seconds to laugh at TFC.
Yeah. No. But it was amazing because I had it on in the background this morning because they replayed it, unfortunately for TFC fans.
Did you get the start of the game? Because I PVR'd it and I got the end of women's golf up to the 55th
no,
minute.
I didn't PVR it. I just watched it. It was on this morning. But it was like TFC just was in control completely.
Bradley had a meltdown performance.
Stephen Caldwell was saying that, they got this in the bag. Anything can happen, but TFC's got this.
Well, I had been watching it, and I saw it was 2-0, and I thought, I'll watch the rest of the game. After I got home, I was like, they've won it. Then I came back down, checked the score, and I was like, holy cow.
Well, after they scored the first goal, Columbus, then Stephen Caldwell goes, this will be a disaster if they give up a result.
Yeah, he was at first he was like, oh yeah, they got a goal, it's good for them. Yeah, it's nice consolation goal for them kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm surprised you don't have like an on-site report because Corrigan was there.
Yes, AFTN writer Chris Corrigan was there. He's been doing some stuff with the Save the Crew movement, so we'll see what comes out of that trip.
So I watched. I think I turned on when it was 3-0 or 3-1, and I was like, oh, Chris must be just. Yeah. Really disappointed in this.
Did you hear about the crowd trouble before the match?
No.
The Columbus fans, which included family and young children and like disabled people and everything like that, were attacked by a group of TFC fans who were carrying flares and stuff, and a lot of the Columbus fans suffered burns. And the police were in the stadium looking for whoever the perpetrators were.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's deadly serious.
Oh, I thought there was a joke coming
out.
No,
I was like waiting for
No.
I was
That's
waiting for the
deadly serious.
punchline.
I was reading it on Reddit last night. Anyway, let's get on to some better things, which was some good results for the Whitecaps.
Well, I want to mention, you guys need to see the replay of the Atlanta-Philly game. Now, the meltdown by... I can't remember the player. Was it a center back or something?
Two center backs.
Two sent off.
One was because of the play.
One got a second yellow.
No, the first one.
No, the first one was sent off was a second yellow.
Was it a second?
Yes.
I thought it was a first.
No, he'd been booked a little bit.
And then the guy who was upset about it got a yellow and then a second
yellow right.
Shut up. Yeah, that.
Well, I felt like he bumped the ref a little bit, especially on the first time.
And that gave Joseph Martinez his fifth hat trick in 34.
Stern John held the previous record, and Martinez has beaten it by 21 games, I think it was.
I got a message from someone who says, this is what you get when you pay for quality in MLS.
I think we should make a move for him in the off-season. Just saying.
He's going to go to
I'll speak to Rob about that.
He's going to go to Europe.
Okay, so
we're like Europe.
Midweek results.
Mixed for the Caps. One was partly surprising because RSL, who have looked awful, but they were at home, beat Houston 2-1.
Yep.
Leapfrogged us in the process in the standings. Then great result for us from the Fuds in Dallas. 3-up. Survived a 2-goal comeback from Zlatan. Beat the Galaxy 3-2. That was great. I mean, we started the weekend out of the playoff spots in 7th and 9th in points per game. We were 5th and 7th in those regards after beating Colorado. But a pretty good weekend for us. Saw us finishing in 6th, so still in the playoff spots.
But 7th
in points per game. Weekend kicked off, Portland, LA Galaxy. Timber's 6-game winning streak is over, but technically a 7-game... Well, not technically, it is a 7-game unbeaten streak. Draw, good for the Caps. Both rivals dropping points, especially Galaxy, who's below us.
And the Galaxy, obviously, they were without Zlatan in this one.
Yeah, he was on the bench.
Yeah, well, it's 2 games in a week.
Maybe the turf as well.
Also, and two games in a week as well.
Keeps Portland in touch with us. They're just 1 ahead, and it keeps LA behind us by 3. I'm still concerned by the Galaxy. I think they will finally click into gear in the summer. I can see them getting past us. They've taken 7 points from the last 12, so I think they are on a bit of an upward swing, but we'll see.
Houston lost the second game in a row this week.
Disastrous for Houston. But I'm happy. But it's such a crappy schedule for Houston. No team should have to play midweek away from home on the West Coast and then have to fly to Montreal on the Saturday for an early kickoff as well. That's just ridiculous scheduling. But who cares, because they got beat, so it's great for the Caps. Vargas, beautiful strike, minute before half-time. Houston put out a weak lineup for it, partly because of 2 games. Yeah. I wonder, though, did they think Montreal's crap, we've got this in the bag, and they put out a weaker thing? I think they kept Kyoto, Manotas, and Martinez on the bench.
Well, they wanted to go after RSL because it's the same conference, and they're thinking Eastern Conference the second game.
And a huge win for Montreal. I know you want to focus on the West.
Yeah, that was.
Was it the fourth win in like what? How many games? Like
it's not drastically helped them in the standings, but they needed that. To
didn't they go above TFC again?
Possibly.
I think I could be wrong, but I think
that makes it all worthwhile for them. Dallas beat the other LA team.
Yeah, LAFC 2-1, and Dallas should have beaten them by a lot more. Than 2-1. It was a dominating performance.
Dallas and KC are looking the class act, I have to say, of the West so far, or at least the acts. Maybe not the class acts, but they're the acts that can actually string some results together.
Yeah. Did you watch the KC game today?
I haven't. I haven't even seen the score. So give us that now.
Yeah, they beat Minnesota 4-1.
Yeah,
there was a sending off. It was 3-1, and then Minnesota had a sending off, and it was nothing shocking.
So that'll put KC back top again.
Except for Kansas City's young players scored. They had started the young central forward. I'm forgetting his name right now. He scored
16-year-old or something.
Then they had a sub come on who I think was 16. Okay. He scored.
Did my man Johnny score?
No, he's away with Scotland.
Oh, so he is.
Yeah, they were missing him.
Yes, Peru and Mexico.
Another game in the Midwest. Chicago beating San Jose 2-1.
Yeah, great result. Western team losing to an East.
What I want to say about Kansas City is they played young players and they did really well.
Yeah.
Oh, and just going back to Dallas, LA, Jordan Harvey got sent off.
Oh, that's right.
I have not seen that yet.
89th minute, second yellow.
Yeah.
In which game? Oh, LA. That's one of the highlights I didn't watch.
Yeah. But yeah, San Jose, 2-1 defeat.
Alan Gordon gets
that's
the goal.
The only thing worth mentioning from that. 3 goals in 3 games from the old man.
What did Jordan Harvey do?
It was a second look, and it was just like tackle. And
it was a rough tackle that usually don't get called in the past.
Right, we've saved the best to last.
Just the way you said that was funny. Why don't they get called in the past?
In the past, it was a hard tackle, but it wasn't like a dangerous tackle. I thought. I think it was just like a really rough tackle.
Okay,
what's changed?
Let's move on. We're tight short of time. RSL 2, Seattle 0.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw this.
Whoa! That was fun to watch. The Sounders are terrible. It was fun to watch, and the game was crap. But the Sounders got beat.
You saying you enjoy watching the Flounders flounder?
Yes. I learned this week that the Sounders is the name given to a pack of warthogs.
Well,
there's something. We've been going down the whole fish route. There's a whole warthogs route that we can now go down with this.
Excellent.
I was watching a zoo program.
You shouldn't have said that. Can you edit that out so we can?
Now you could tell how horrible this game was because just by the highlights package. The first highlight, I think...
you pick up on this a lot.
The first highlight was like, I think there was one highlight in the first half, and then they went to the 57th minute in the second half. And then I think
Seattle's had no shots on target for the whole game.
Seattle's first highlight was at the 76th minute or something like that.
When you're a flounder, it's hard to get shots in it.
The second goal was with Fry way up the pitch.
Well, yeah, if you haven't watched, RSL scores earlier on in the game. And then
it was the 91st minute or something.
Yeah. There was like 3 minutes out or something. Yeah. And so Fry went up for the corner, and
that's early. I thought
they countered. Well, I don't know.
Not the 91st minute.
No, when you got nothing else to lose, I was calling for Marco Carducci to go up. We were calling for Marco Carducci to go up for the corner on Friday.
In the 86th minute.
Why? You wanted TSS to lose? Get out of the studio.
I love Marco Carducci.
More than TSS Rovers?
Yeah, probably.
It seemed like I can attest to that. He does.
It's Marco Carducci, Jackson Farmer, Jordan Haynes.
Has he got him to read it right yet? That's the song. I'm not slighting Jackson in any way. Anyway, Seattle are atrocious. And another team that's on a bad run is Orlando. We won't cover that in any detail. The preview podcast will be out on Thursday looking at that. But 4 defeats in a row after having 6 winning streak as well. US Open Cup is midweek as well, but you have to feel teams will probably put out
the strongest possible lineup.
I'm just hoping for an FC Cincinnati win over Minnesota. I think they have every chance of doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Can get another cup run going. Spencer Ritchie's got a good chance probably of starting that one.
Hopefully.
But big week for FC Cincinnati. As we know, they are the 26th team now in Major League Soccer. And the man, I was glad that this was announced because it's not always announced early. Minnesota didn't appoint Adrian Heath till December, whereas you've got Alan Koch now, has been appointed the coach. He's got all this time to work with his team to get ready
to build his team.
Yeah. And that's fantastic.
And they're going to have the summer transfer window where they can actually bring players in knowing that they're going to MLS.
And I talked to Alan during the week. We're going to bring you that now. It's a long interview. It's 20 minutes, but a lot of good stuff in this. Just talking about how he's going to build the team and just a lot more besides. So let's hear now from FC Cincinnati head coach and our good friend, Alan Koch.
In our city, like Cincinnati.
I guess to start things off, Alan, I have to say congratulations. It's obviously been a long time coming. I think everyone knew that Cincinnati was going to get awarded the next sort of berth in MLS, but what was it like emotionally for you on Tuesday? I mean, it must have been a mixture of excitement, but I guess maybe trepidation, because it's quite a daunting journey that's ahead of you now.
No, it's nothing but exciting. There's no trepidation. We know exactly what we're getting ourselves into, and we've got some very, very good leadership. We've got great owners, and we're continuing to expand our staff, and we've got a very good staff. So we're all excited. We're ready to embrace the challenge. Yesterday was an amazing moment, obviously, for the club and the city, and people truly celebrated in style in true Cincinnati fashion. It was a very, very special day for everybody involved, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. It's something you could tell was very, very imminent. Anybody who's ever been to one of our games can see the atmosphere in the stadium. They can see the on-field product. They can see how much our sport means to the city, and it just continues to go from strength to strength.
I mean, I've watched a lot of your games over the past couple of years, and it does seem amazing atmosphere there. But when you look at how far this club has come, only formed in 2015, this is only the third USL season. Do some of the guys there kind of have to take a step back and think, wow, we've really come a long way in such a short period of time?
Yeah, I think last night was that moment for pretty much everybody, from the president and the owners and everybody who started the club literally 3 years ago. I think everybody has worked so hard and done so much to make this happen and to grow the club in so many different respects and in all the different spheres that we're involved with. But I think last night really was that one moment, and everybody kind of took the foot off the pedal and actually just looked at each other and reflected and really enjoyed the moment. There's so much passion in this business, honestly, and there's a lot of passion around our club, both internally and externally too. But last night was that moment. I think we all allowed ourselves just a few hours to kind of take the foot off the pedal and really appreciate each other and appreciate all the hard work everybody's put in. But we obviously know there's a lot more work ahead now, and that's something we're all excited about.
I mean, when I last spoke to you, it was during the cup run that you had last year in the US Open Cup. Obviously, when you first went to Cincinnati, you hadn't gone there as head coach, and then as things worked out, you got that at the start of last year. When did you find out, though, that the plan was to have you as the coach in MLS, or was that the plan all along?
Well, I extended my contract last year during that cup run. I don't remember exactly when it was, but we went and we beat several MLS teams, and the president of the club came to me, approached me and said, I want to extend you. I want you to be with us for the long haul. You've shown really on a USL budget that you have the ability to beat MLS teams. And that obviously showed him what myself and my staff are capable of, and they've entrusted us to lead the process since then. So it's something I'm honored by. I'm humbled by it. It's something we're enjoying. It's obviously personally, it's a lot nicer to lead a team into MLS next year in 2019 than having to wait another year or two, because the cup run last year, that's a lot of attention, and there were some other MLS clubs that were interested. But to be honest, this is a great club, and this is a club I'm really enjoying growing with. We're all growing with this club together every single day. We're challenging each other, and I'm excited to see where this journey takes myself, my staff, and the club.
Now, last season was really the first season that you had a chance to build your own squad, but at the same time you were taking over a lot of players that were already there. This year, you've had the budget. How different have you found it? Obviously at SFU, you brought in players that were at college level. At WFC2, a lot of the recruitment was maybe done by the Caps players, and you didn't really get a chance to go out and spend money. This year you have. Have you noticed, has it been a big difference, or how enjoyable has that been for you?
Well, I've always loved building teams. I think that's something that it's something I enjoy. It's something I embrace. It takes a lot of work to go source the right players, the right characters, and I figured out over the years to be incredibly resourceful. And I think that's something, I think a lot of people don't actually realize that. People post a lot of comments right now about, we've got this big budget. We have a very nice USL budget, but it's not the top budget in the league by any means. It's not outlandish. It's a very reasonable budget, and it's a good budget. Our owners are building something special, and they do it the right way. So I think a lot of the experiences I had, particularly with SFU, where what you do at that level is the same as what you do at the top levels. It's just you're dealing with different types of entities. You're having to recruit the right type of players for the college game. And then going to WFC2, the first year I really inherited a lot of the academy kids or the first team guys, but in the second year when we had success, I was able to put my own footprint on the team and who we brought in, and I was able to recruit a lot of those players that helped take us to the conference final, and that, to be honest, gave me a lot of confidence. The fact that we could take a group on a very small budget there with Whitecaps 2 and very, very young as far as we did, and help develop those individual players, showed that we're capable of doing it in the professional ranks, and it's why I got the opportunity to come to Cincinnati, and gave us the confidence last year in that cup run to go cause all of those upsets. So it has been fun putting this team together. We worked incredibly hard just to reflect last year in that first season here as the head coach, what was working, what wasn't working, who we needed to bring in, who we needed to release. We brought in a huge group of players this year that really fit the culture of the club that we're trying to create, and I feel the group that we have is really setting that culture in place. We've had a very, very good start to the season. We're top until last week now, obviously in second position in the league, and got everything to fight for this year as we get ourselves ready for the MLS.
The squad you've built this year, I mean, everyone knew that the MLS was coming, but we didn't know whether it was definitely going to be 2019 with all the stadium issues. Obviously, they just got ratified quite recently, but how much of this squad was built with an eye to MLS, or were you not really able to do as much of that as you wanted with that uncertainty hanging over?
Yeah, good choice of words. There was a lot of uncertainty, but we tried to we focused on the important things. We focused on the experience that we as a club in the city can provide with our players. The players could see where this club is going. Obviously, there was no certainty as to where we're going to be in MLS and when we're going to be in MLS, but our players wanted to come be part of a special journey. We used that as our biggest recruiting tool. Just if you want to come play in a very, very special environment where the fans in the city are incredibly passionate about the work that we do, we're going to put the right culture in place, and let's go compete and try and win. And that's really how we were able to recruit the players that we did very, very resourcefully. And they've come along, they've bought into everything we're doing. It's an absolute pleasure to work with this group every single day. The culture and the group is an absolute joy. Everybody comes to work with a smile on their face, win or lose, to be honest, and everybody's buying into the system of play that we've been able to implement. Last year I wasn't really able to do that. We inherited a group and we had to tweak it as much as we could in certain games, but we have a vision and a philosophy we want to play, and we've managed to bring the players this year to go out and do it.
Now, Don Garber on Tuesday had said it's a very short runway for the team to get ready for MLS. I was just looking at it just before I called you, and thinking about it, you're like 7.5 months away from pre-season and just over 6 months away from the draft. I mean, what's on the top of your to-do list right now? It must be so much.
Yeah, you know what? There's two different things that are probably the most challenging at the moment. And we brought in a good technical director, and Luke Sassano, who joined us from the New York Cosmos, and him and myself with Jeff Birding, who's our present GM. really are the ones that are working on a lot of these different things. But the first is just making sure we're completely familiar with all of the MLS players, because obviously they're the winning expansion draft, and we'll get to go play and pick a few players at that time. The other one is obviously the MLS draft itself, but I'm obviously very, very familiar with that. I led that for the Whitecaps for several seasons, so we're putting a network in place already that will help us identify all those players, and hopefully, like we did the Whitecaps, we picked Timmy Parker there. Hopefully we can go pick somebody very, very similar to Tim and go have somebody who can come make an impact already for us next year as a rookie.
Obviously, you have Spencer Ritchie there on loan from the Whitecaps just now, but now as the season goes on, is that something you might look at if you identify maybe some players at MLS clubs that maybe are surplus to requirements there? Would you look at trying to bring them in now, either signing them or even on loan deals just to have a look at them?
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely open to it. We've been talking to a couple of clubs about loan-to-buy type of options. We've obviously got to regulate things with the MLS to make sure we and them are completely on top of how the rules are going to work as things unfold. But no, we're definitely open to trying to do some things for summertime, and then obviously we'll have the winter window too. So like anybody in a league like MLS with all the different rules and regulations, we've got to be incredibly creative, incredibly resourceful in terms of putting this roster together. But we know we'll have a decent budget, one that will make us competitive. But just like we're doing this year, just like to be quite frank, I've done everywhere, we'll squeeze every single thing we can out of every single player. And you've got to maximize every player's abilities and set them up for success. So obviously we're focusing still on this year, but we're definitely having a build for next year at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. You've got the USL season still to see out. You're right in the middle of another Open Cup run. You've got Minnesota coming up in that. How many hours a day do you see yourself putting into this now for the next couple of months?
That's a good question. So my family is still in Vancouver, and back and forth between Vancouver and Cincinnati all the time. So yeah, so I think, to be honest, my wife and I joke that it might actually be a good thing because I work so much that really I don't have much spare time, and trying to find that balance is a bit of a challenge. But when you've got a project like this in front of you, you're going to grab the bull by the horns and make the most of it. And obviously, when they come out and visit and come watch games, we can try to shut it off for a little bit. But we're working incredibly hard. We're putting in long hours, and we're enjoying it. It's pretty special to be part of something like this that is growing. And to be quite honest, it's been called this by many people. It's one of the hottest soccer clubs in North America. So we're humbled with the opportunity, and we're going to make the most of it.
Still looking at this year, I mean, it goes without saying, the players on your current roster, they know what the opportunity is. If they impress you, they'll probably make the jump to MLS. Now, that can give you a big boost in USL in that you might see players playing out their skin, but then you're also going to have opposition players wanting to impress you, or you're going to be the team now that they really want to knock off, if you probably were anyway. But what are you expecting in games now to see out the rest of the USL season?
Well, we know this already. We literally had it last week. We're on top of the league for the last 3 weeks, and we played one of our regional rivals who came in, and they played like they were possessed, and we didn't have a particularly good game, and we deserved to lose. But that's our reality. Every team that comes and plays against us in our stadium in front of 25, 30,000 fans, whatever it is, you know you're going to get their absolute best shot. So we've got a huge target on our backs. We have to be ready for that. But then also when we go play away, we play the New York Red Bulls too this weekend at their place, and they've had a lot of success as a 2 team in the USL. But those young players are fighting for spots in their first team, but they're all realists. They know there's only so many guys that can get signed to their first team, while the rest of them are going to try and get jobs somewhere else. So they know if you're playing against a team that's going to the MLS, this is the time to put your best foot forward. So it's motivating for our players, but it's also equally motivating for the opposition too.
And talking to the fan base, obviously everyone knows Nippert Stadium's got an amazing atmosphere, and I think you're averaging something like 24,500 this year. The friendly that you played against Palace, you had 41,000 in there. Some of the cup games were massive crowds. But the new stadium, it's only 21,000 capacity. Is that going to be big enough for what you're doing there?
They haven't exactly decided on the final number. Right. There's so many different things that went into obviously figuring out our stadium and who's paying for it and where we're going to put it and everything else. But I think everybody is hopeful that there's going to be room for expansion.
Okay.
This club and this city have already shown that people will show up in their tens of thousands to come watch the team play. So you hope they can maximize things as much as possible and build as big a stadium as possible, because you want to see fans that want to come support you be able to come to the games. Everything this club does, and it's truly mind-blowing, is wherever you go in this city, FC Cincinnati is present. And our club should take a lot of credit for that, and the people working in the different departments, because we're completely engaged. We're out there all the time. We're making appearances, and we embrace the community just as much as they embrace us. But that's why there's a slogan here, Rise Together. It's why this club and the city truly are rising together at the same time.
I don't want to get into all the politics of this, because it's certainly not fair to put you on the spot, but there is the potential of the Ohio Derby with Columbus, if Columbus do stay in Columbus. Having a state derby, the passion and like the bragging rights, what would that mean to the city, and just what would it mean for Ohio to have two teams in MLS battling it out?
Derbies are amazing. It's obviously having been with Vancouver and played against Seattle and Portland, both with the second team, and then being with Robo and his staff on the bench for a few of the derbies at the Timbers or at the Sounders. There are special moments. Those are special moments for the players, the staff, all the fans, and all the different cities. So I'm a supporter of derbies anywhere in the world, because they truly are special parts of this game. When you have opposition fans in stadiums, it truly changes the atmosphere, and it makes it an exciting place to be. So obviously, without getting into the politics of what may or may not transpire there, I'm a supporter of derbies. I think they add so much to the game. And fortunately for us, literally feels like every game we play is a derby, because everywhere we fly, our fans travel with us. I don't think I've managed FC Cincinnati in any stadium without there being a decent number of our fans that have come on the road. And I'm sure once we get into MLS, we'll have even more fans that will travel too.
And you talk about special moments. Obviously, next season, playing the Whitecaps, that's going to be a special moment for you. Would you prefer that match in Cincinnati? Would you love the chance to come to Vancouver for that? And how motivated are you going to be to beat the Whitecaps in that one?
That's a bit of a loaded question. No, I'd love to coach against the Whitecaps. I have so much respect for the Whitecaps, and Carl and his staff gave me an opportunity several years ago, and I'm grateful for it. My family is still in Deep Cove, and I think everybody knows I grew up in South Africa, but I'm a very, very proud Canadian, and I'm a very, very proud Vancouverite too. So it'd be amazing to coach against Vancouver. Whether it's here or there, I don't think it makes too much difference, but I would love to come coach a game in BC Place at some stage. I still hold the club very, very dear to my heart, and it's always fun to manage a club that means a lot to you, but it's also incredibly special to manage a club. Manage a club that's going to go play against a team that you used to work for too.
And just the very last thing, that so much has now happened in the last little while for you. Just taking a step back and looking at your own personal journey, played for SFU, went and coached in the States at college, coached at SFU and then in USL. Looking at you now on the cusp of taking a team to MLS, how do you look back at your own personal coaching journey, and what does it mean to you right now to have this opportunity?
I guess I've gone from coaching in front of a few hundred people to coaching in front of 30,000 plus people, and I'm still the same person. I'm still the same coach. You obviously learn different tricks of the trade as you go along the journey, but I've enjoyed everywhere where I've coached. Doesn't really I don't get caught up in the razzmatazz of things. I love being part of Cincinnati. It's a great place to work, a great place to manage a club. But this is just the journey. There's the twists and turns, and they all go in different directions. And you have your good moments, and you have your tough moments too. And as I said to some of the media last night at the MLS announcement, pain is part of the process too. This is never easy. A to B journey. You're going to have your ups and downs, and you'll have good moments and bad moments, and you just got to ride through them and enjoy it as much as you can.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Alan, and I hope you enjoy the busy few months that you've got coming up. Really looking forward to seeing what you do with the team, what you build, and how you hit the ground running next year. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate the support. Thanks a million.
Congratulations to Alan, his team, the players, and everyone at FC Cincinnati. Very deserving.
Well deserved, yeah, I agree with that.
Meteoric rise. 3 years, really. They've done wonders. I'm excited because I've always wanted to go to Cincinnati Zoo. And now I get a chance to do that.
You didn't ask him any of the questions I asked you.
I did ask them one of them.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
About the Whitecaps at the end there.
Oh, there you go.
Thing for me, and we touched about this quickly in the interview, and then we'll just wrap this segment up. They currently have a season ticket base of 24,500. The initial plans for the new stadium is 21,000.
That doesn't add up.
It's going to be some people disappointed then.
Yeah,
No, they're looking at altering the
yeah,
stadium.
I mean, they're looking that they can try and expand and go bigger, but it's what they've done there is just fantastic. Really happy for Alan getting it so early.
They've tapped into the German community.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
football.
Well,
I'm not a big fan of that, but that's the key to their success is
for sure. They switched from they were a football club, Cincinnati. Now they're football club.
Last thing, just in this segment, they're the 26th team in MLS. There's 2 to go, 27 and 28.
Is Miami 21 of them?
No, they're one of the 26.
One of the earlier.
There's 2 more. So Nashville and Miami.
That's part of this.
Yep. So this is all done. Who do you think quickly are going to be 27 and 28, or
who else? I forget who's in the the fake Detroit.
Yeah,
I think they're going to put in fake Detroit because they want to.
They need a rivalry.
Well, they need a rivalry now.
They need Minnesota to have a rival.
Columbus move,
I think.
Oh yeah,
and I think the other one could be Sacramento.
No,
I think Sacramento's time's gone.
Is it?
Phoenix, I think, might be.
Oh, Phoenix! I forgot about.
But Phoenix wasn't Phoenix left off. Garber was talking at what was this or some other thing recently, and he left Phoenix off the list, and people were like, that either means they're out or it means they're next.
Yeah, and they've got the backing.
A wild card, and I don't know if this has been mentioned, but Las Vegas. Because of the
I would have said like
success of the hockey team.
I would have said ridiculous.
The hockey team has been very successful, and that's not a hockey.
And the
market.
lights have they've been weird and wacky. They've just added a live DJ to their locker room. Is the latest thing that they've now done.
Can you listen to is there a radio station you can listen to?
Yes, for the players to get them pumped up. You've got llamas on the pitch. You've got live DJs. You've got them going to casinos, and they've got a bonus that they're getting money to spend in the casinos.
Right. Even their underage players.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. But anyway, congrats to FC Cincinnati. I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about it. So we're not going to be right back, but we are going to be back in a couple of days' time. Watch for that coming out as episode 274. And we will bring you our Canadian PL chat, our interview with Tommy Wheeldon. We'll hear from Will Cromack from TSS Rovers and a lot more beside. So just before we go then, just let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at WhitecapsBeat.
For me, it's at Zachary AM, and I'm part of the Movement Curve Collective.
I am Michael McCall. You can find me on Twitter at AFTN Canada. Read our stuff, aftn.ca. Lots of stuff on the Whitecaps, Canadian PL, TSS, tons of stuff going up there this week. So check that out. Give us a follow as well on Instagram at AFTN Soccer. Tune into the preview podcast on Thursday, maybe Friday if we release this as a 2-parter. But until then, thanks for listening. Take care and mon everybody.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
We need
E